Si les gustaría saber cuáles son los estándares actualmente de un empresario mundial del extranjero para hacer negocios con China y exportar con todo el mundo y tener un negocio de exportación exitoso, el día de hoy estamos entrevistando a un exitoso empresario que se dedica al trading al 100%, así que nos va a dar sus recomendaciones y cuáles son los nuevos estándares para tener éxito en los negocios. Todo eso el día de hoy, así que empezamos. What's your point of view? You think the Chinese market has changed? Like maybe 5 years ago?
4 years ago, when I came to these markets, it was always busy, crazy, lots of people around. Can't walk right. The people in the stores are always like, hey, trying to get your attention. It's very competitive. Right now, it's kind of like dead.
So maybe you think you don't need to come to China to make a successful business with China.
Well, yeah,
do you think
sure.
It's a have to?
Well, it depends on the product.
So when do you think you have to come to China?
When you're doing, I recommend everybody comes to China. If you have the money, you have the time.
Okay,
come to
yeah,
China.
I also think the same. And I saw some Chinese businessmen.
Yeah.
They introduce you to their family.
Yeah.
They want to take you at their home, eat with them.
One factory.
You are late for the meeting, maybe 1 hour or maybe 2 hours. Do you think that influenced the result?
Yeah, of course. Again, it's respecting other people's time.
Yeah.
The way you present yourself is how the factories are going to view you. If you present yourself in a professional way and you're wearing professional clothing,
yeah,
the factories are going to look at you as a professional.
Yeah.
So, especially
kind of advice would you give someone want to come to China, want to do things to China? Do you think they should focus about maybe their professional side, or maybe they should just come to China and just try and just YOLO and just try to do it? Don't first come in.
Don't get a quotation at the fair. After the fair,
okay,
send them an email and say, hey, my friend, my Chinese friend recommended your factory.
Good morning, Mr. Can you introduce yourself to everyone?
Okay. My name is Rico. I am CEO of Sourceline Asia.
Okay.
Which is a manufacturing consulting company. Did you say any of this stuff in your intro in Spanish?
No, I haven't. Actually, I'm just going to subtitle everything. Don't worry.
All right. So which is a manufacturing consulting company based in Guangzhou. I moved to China at the end of 2014. Met my business partner in 2015. We started the company, and now we work with Walmart, Cirque du Soleil, and some of the bigger brands in the US and Canada.
Okay. So I want to ask you 3 things. First of all, the first time you came to China, and now, what's your point of view? You think the Chinese market has changed? Like maybe 5 years ago, 8 years ago?
In terms of literally markets, where we are right now, as we were talking about, I think if we were talking 4 years ago, when I came to these markets, it was always busy, crazy, lots of people around. Can't walk right. The people in the stores are always like, hey, trying to get your attention. It's very competitive. Right now, it's kind of like dead.
Yeah. Actually, we were walking around, and then we realized actually most of the markets today they are closed.
Yeah.
Actually, today is Saturday. We were supposed to be open, but most of the markets they are closed.
So, and I think what's happened is people just become more savvy with online business. I think 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of these stores were still selling at the store, but now they're focusing on selling.
So maybe you
online.
think you don't need to come to China to make a successful business with China.
Well, yeah,
do you think it's a have to?
Well, it depends on the product, right? Like if you're doing straight OEM product, which is original equipment, manufacturing is just like white label.
You have to check. You have to.
With that, you're just putting your logo on the product. So you don't necessarily need to come to China, but you can hire somebody else to do an inspection.
Okay.
Original design is way more difficult.
Okay.
ODM, right?
So when do you think you have to come to China?
When you're doing, I recommend everybody comes to China. If you have the money, you have the time.
Okay.
Come to China.
I also think the same because it's important.
It's important.
Yeah.
The big thing with Chinese business is face-to-face communication. So that doesn't change. Building that relationship with the factory is one of the most important things that you ever do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have a contract. It doesn't matter if you're doing $1 million orders. That face-to-face relationship, meeting them, shaking hands, going for drinks.
Actually, a relationship, I think, with people, with person.
Meeting your salesperson, meeting the engineer in the factory, meeting the people on the factory floor that actually put the products together, them seeing you.
Okay.
It's very important by sitting with each other and having dinner.
Yeah. They are actually more traditional, I think, about it. And I saw some Chinese businessmen. They introduce you to their family. They want to take you at their home, eat with them.
One factory we work with in Nantong, I've met his wife, his kid. I've met his brother-in-law, his sister.
Yeah.
Just the grandparents.
Yeah.
I was there at dinner with like 20 relatives, and it's normal.
A really important question I always ask anyone. Like, do you think it's important to speak Chinese to do business with China?
I think it's important, yes. It's not 100% necessary because, so for example, my Chinese is, I would say, survival Chinese. Like if I need to, when I travel to random areas, I can speak, but I don't usually use Chinese on a daily basis because my employees speak English, my customers don't speak English.
But would you think like if someone can speak Chinese very well, their chances like maybe their chances going to improve?
It increases your chances for sure, but like again, if you can find somebody that's good with translation, and you can find somebody that you trust, then it kind of is the same thing. The only difference is that you have to pay this person to go with you.
But in an ideal way, would be like the ideal way.
Scenario, you should be speaking fluently. And then what happens in those situations is, in the times when I've traveled and I'm hanging out with the family, having the dinner and whatever. If I spoke perfect Mandarin, then I can make deeper connections with some of the people there.
And actually, you can get better deals sometimes. Do you think so?
Yes and no. So for me personally, I think getting a better deal is based off of building a relationship over time with the factory. So if you're paying on time, if you say to the factory, hey, in the next year, we're going to do $200,000 in orders, and you actually do $200,000 in orders, and you pay on time, then it becomes easier to negotiate prices.
So for you think working a professional standard is most important thing?
Yeah. I think with factories, like with any business, really, doing what you say. Like if you say, I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is they'll come and they'll tell the factory, we're going to be doing $1 million in 2 years, just so they can get the price down now. But if you do that and then you don't do $1 million in 2 years, the factory's going to start looking at you like you lied to them and they don't.
How about you have a meeting with a Chinese owner, like Chinese boss, and then you are late for the meeting, maybe 1 hour or maybe 2 hours? Do you think that influenced the result?
Yeah, of course. Again, it's respecting other people's time. Especially if you're meeting a manager or a boss, they have other things to do. They have other obligations. Sure. So you have to respect their time. It does. How you present yourself is extremely important. Even just like small things like how you show up to the factory. So for example, in my early days, I used to I'll take the train to whatever city it is, and then the factory would pick me up from the subway or something. I noticed that when I started taking cars to the factory, when I rent a car, I had a driver take me to the factory.
Shows like
there's a little bit of a different reception.
I know.
Just come with a driver.
So actually, you think, and actually, many people ask me about this. They always, I saw some comments from some subscribers. They told me, why you always dress so formal in every video you take. And then I do believe, I do it because for my job, most of my clothes are like this. And the second one is because I think you always somehow communicate, right?
How you, what's that expression? Perception is reality. So, the way you present yourself is how the factories are going to view you. If you present yourself in a professional way and you're wearing professional clothing, the factories are going to look at you as a professional. So, especially for me, like when I first started the company, I was 22, and as a 22-year-old going to a factory,
you have to show.
I have to do a little bit extra to kind of present myself as a professional.
It becomes part of you,
Then it becomes part of you. So it is important. Like the factories will take you a little bit more seriously if you're presenting yourself in a professional way. Like I said, you do what you say. Show up to the factory with a driver or whatever, wearing a suit, coming there, signing contracts with factories, knowing the professional terms, understanding your product, things like that. The way you present it.
At least in Asia, Asia is really, superficial. They always look for appearance, what you look, everything is always communicating something.
I think half of the reason why China is now the biggest consumer of Apple products. This is because Apple is
Apple shows.
Shows sales. When somebody has the latest iPhone, they pull it out and everyone sees, that guy has an iPhone. So it's and even the same thing with cars. There's a lot of Chinese people that have the latest, most expensive Ferrari or whatever expensive car, but then their apartment isn't so nice. And it's more about when people see me outside, how do they see me?
Yeah.
They're not thinking about their actual home. So there's definitely that aspect of showing. Showing off.
And actually, like, if you, for example, if you were a boss, if you have your own factory, and then you see someone like doesn't care about his appearance, just show up, and then comes someone with their suit like this, more formal, you will somehow, like, subconsciously, you will treat it in a different way,
you
right?
feel it, and also it's what's also changed is more. So if you're talking about business 15 years ago, right, like, there was very few foreigners that were actually coming to China.
And they were like backpackers, crazy guys like this.
Yeah, and then at that time, a lot of people were dealing with trading companies only from Hong Kong. So when a foreigner would come to China and go to the factory, it was a big deal. The factory is like, oh my God, this foreigner is coming, right? Like, it's maybe once every 3 months they'll get somebody like this. Now they have so many foreigners coming to the factory, so the competition is flipped, right? Like the game
demand
has changed. Before it was the factory trying to impress you, now you have to impress the factory.
Sure. So we finished this maybe fast interview. What kind of advice would you give, like someone want to come to China, want to do things to China? Do you think they should focus about maybe their professional side, or maybe they should just come to China and just try and just YOLO and just try to do it?
Well, I guess it depends on the situation that you're in. If you have time, like for me, for example, when I came, I had nothing to lose. I was here. I was like, I'm going to be living here, so I could come here without a plan and figure it out.
But now you're more mature. So what do you think is the skills you should have if you want to come to China?
So I was saying it depends. So if you have time, then you can come and just freestyle. If you don't have time, then of course you need to learn. There's a lot of information online, right? So you can figure out, like, what am I going to do in an OEM product? Am I going to sell on Amazon? Am I going to do a Kickstarter? Am I going to do an original design, build a brand?
Or am I just going to buy copies?
Am I just going to buy copies? Exactly. So you can kind of figure, or am I going to sell to Chinese people? That's another completely other thing.
I met just few foreigners who do this.
So you need to, if you can go online, do the research, and figure out what market you want to focus on, then try to understand that as much as possible before you come to China. Then you have at least a rough plan. But you need to be flexible, because one thing I always know is, like, I've met people who said, you know what, I'm going to come to China, 5 months, I'm going to have my product, and then I'm going to launch on Kickstarter and make $1 million.
And then they are English teachers.
And then English teachers, and the next thing you know, the guy's like, fuck China, I'm going to Vietnam. I met quite a few people like that.
And I also think it's really important, like, to have something on mind, right? I always talk, like, not only my subscribers, but also my customers. If you want to come to China, why you're going to come? You can have, maybe you're going to come for pleasure, you're going to have for business, you're going to have for maybe adventure, maybe you like tourist. You have to check what you want to come to China and then decide, and then don't change the plan. After you finish your goal, maybe you can change the plan.
Also another thing is you can get distracted very easily here because there are so many opportunities. Like, I remember when I first came, and the first time I went to, so when I first came, what I'll do is I'll just pick a stop on the subway and I'll get off and then check. So I was finding all these random markets, right?
I wouldn't do such thing.
Well, I just wanted to explore the city.
But I like planning more, you know. I will like I will Google it, the place before.
I had a rough idea of which markets are there, but not everything is online.
I know.
If everything was online, then there's no point coming to China.
Indeed.
So for me, I would, like, those markets that I knew I already researched before. And then I was also, let me understand the city, so let me try to go to each subway stop and see what's there.
Okay.
So what would happen is I'll get off at a random stop and it's like the market for adapters. And there's 1,000 stores all selling adapters, just adapters. They're like, how do you even come up with an idea of what to buy here? But it would also expand your mind and give you. But
by then you didn't speak Chinese. So how did you make the deals?
A lot of sign language and a lot of like translation apps and things like that. But yeah, you can get very easily distracted because there's so many different products, so many different business opportunities. So yes, you should have a plan when you get here and try to focus on that plan. But again, be flexible because it's never a straightforward process.
Maybe you can find something you never had idea.
It always takes a little bit. It takes longer than you think.
And actually today we saw some like crazy products, right? Like, even I don't think they're too healthy, but they always come with new things in China. You never know. There's going to be some sort of innovative product and stuff like that. So maybe
you can get distracted very easily. Try to focus.
Canton Fair is coming.
don't get a quotation at the fair, after the fair, send them an email and say, hey, my friend, my Chinese friend recommended your factory to me. I didn't get a quotation. You'll notice that the prices are different.
Just chill first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Contact them after the fair, like a month later.
Okay.
Pretend like you found them from another area.
So you, my friend Rico, I think we haven't told them your name.
I said my name.
Okay. So my friend Rico, he's really international friend. Like most of his friends, they're from all around the world, even more than me, because all my social circles, they are Chinese, like 80%. But this guy has friends from all around the world. So maybe you have more idea how foreign people see South Americans. Like how.
Sorry, it's a pretty loaded question. I'm
not talking about business.
Bring my political answer to the South Americans.
The political correct answer. No, I'm talking about from a business point of view. Like, what do you think we can improve?
I mean, okay, so I have 3 of my best friends live in Colombia. My understanding, and this is what I've been told, I don't really have that much experience doing business with South Americans. My understanding from my friends is that super friendly, very fun, smart people, energetic culture.
But any advice about business?
However, similar, I talked about this in my Philippine stuff. Sometimes being late for meetings and things like that.
We shouldn't do.
A little bit of a normal thing there. Like, I don't even think people are thinking of it as rude. It's just
happens.
If you're saying, hey, let's meet at 3 o'clock, then they're coming there for 4:30. And it's frustrating for foreigners, Westerners. It's a little bit frustrating because if you look at my schedule on a daily basis, it's scheduled out. Every minute is scheduled out mostly. So if I have a meeting at 3, that means I have something else to do at 3:30 or 4. So if somebody shows up late, it kind of messes up my whole schedule. So maybe that's one thing, is just being a little bit more conscious about how you present yourself and time.
Okay.
That's pretty big.
You think time is the most?
Time is. I think time is
the challenge.
Time is money, man. Like it is the most important thing. It's an asset.
Indeed.
How much stuff can you accomplish in a day is important, and you need to be structured around that. Man, like Chris Rock, the comedian.
Yeah.
He had this joke where he talked about basically the punchline was just like, there's no such thing as being early. You're either on time or you're late. That's it. So if you have a meeting at 3 and you show up at 2:30, you're not early. You're on time.
You're on time.
If you have a meeting at 3 and you show up at 3:10, you're late.
That's a really cool way to see it.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like that.
Okay.
I'm either on time or I'm late.
Okay. Great. So ahí tenemos el mensaje final de nuestro amigo Rico. Es una entrevista que hemos hecho el día de hoy para mostrarles un poco a ustedes la manera en la que trabajamos o se trabajan los extranjeros en China. Como se dan cuenta, hoy en día hay estándares de calidad, piden mucho ser profesionales y obviamente en algunos sentidos lamentablemente nos ven todavía los latinos como personas que la mayoría llegamos tarde, incumplimos, ¿no? A veces no somos muy estrictos con los horarios o con las responsabilidades que tenemos, y esto está el reto en cambiar de nosotros. Obviamente las personas que actualmente hacen negocios, personas mayores, más de 40, 50 años, puede ser un poco más complicado, pero los jóvenes, si tú estás viendo el video y tienes entre 15, tienes 25, 30 años, puedes cambiar tus hábitos, puedes cambiar, y cuando vayas tú al extranjero eres un embajador de tu país, eres un embajador mexicano, argentino, peruano, chileno, y tú siempre demuestras cómo es tu nación. Y si vas a venir a China a hacer negocios, sé muy profesional, por favor, porque estás no solo representando a tu negocio o a tu familia o a tu marca, sino estás representando a tu país. Muchas gracias por ver este video. Espero que si te gusta el contenido empresarial de hacer negocios, yo subo contenidos prácticamente semanal a YouTube y a Facebook y a Instagram, subo contenido diario. Así que puedes ver en los comentarios si hay videos relacionados también para que puedas prestar atención. Si tienes un amigo que le interese este contenido, te invitaría a que lo compartas para que pueda aprender también mucho más de importación o comercio internacional. Mi nombre es Miguel Ángel Béjar, soy ingeniero industrial y nos vemos en una próxima ocasión. So we say... Okay, that's great. Thanks, my friend.